Now, there's over several hundred pilots that are either on furlough or who have been made redundant because of COVID-19 and the effect it's had on international aviation that are seeking work in potentially the agricultural economy. Joining us now is the New Zealand Airline Pilots Association Medical and Welfare Director, Andy Pender. Welcome to Sarah's Country, Andy.
Nice to be here, Sarah. Thanks for giving you and your audience some of your time. Great to be here.
Thank you for giving your particular members the opportunity to pair up and redeploy within our industry. It's certainly heartwarming. Can you tell us about how those initial conversations happened?
Classic Kiwi story, really. One of our good people at the Airline Pilots Association just happened to be talking to a fantastic member of MPI's regional workforce liaison team. And that gentleman based in Hamilton was asking one of our people, how are pilots getting on right now? And, well, the simple answer was there's around 500 looking at facing redundancy, or a much smaller number looking at furlough, a wee time away from airlines like in New Zealand. And from that sentence came well, have I got a deal for you? We got into a whole heap of Zoom conversations, which are still ongoing, and we were put in touch with the wonderful people at Rural Contractors NZ, Roger Parton and his fantastic members. It's all been a blur because it's been so busy, but essentially Roger went out to his members. We got an indication of around, I think it was north of 200 opportunities in the rural sector, everything from picking kumara through to harvester work that needed to start ASAP. We understand those members of Rogers are hurting and are facing a real situation with these borders closed. And equally on the other side of the fence, our Airline Pilots Association members are facing a storm of much different situation, not too much work, none. So, look, it was a fantastic introduction, and from there we've simply been joining the dots, throwing our people that are super keen for work, and look, more so coming from our great country, agricultural work, vast majority of our people are all over it.
Could you just give us a bit of a feeling of what it is like for these airline pilots having to reconsider an entire new industry? I actually listened to a talkback interview with an airline pilot, and I have to say there's a lot of our ego attached to who we are as our role and our job in society, to then have to go and do something else which hasn't been deemed as that, but really in terms of skill set is really up there in comparison. How do you support them in your role as a medical and welfare director to get their head around that, and especially their families?
How long have you got?
I'm just so interested in that. Yeah.
Look, I could really go down a very long conversation there, Sarah. I'd say, quick plug for our fantastic aviation peer assistance team, www.pan.org.nz. Say no more. When our folks in the aviation industry are facing very unique pressures the aviation industry throws at them, we've got a fantastic dedicated team that are behind them, much like Farmstrong, much like Mike King's Trust, that do some fantastic work for aviation professionals out there. What's it like for a airline pilot to 1 minute go and jump in the airplane, the next minute realise their job's redundant? Well, I can speak from very personal experience. April 3, I was told that I'm no longer a 737 captain. You talk about identity around jobs, you talk about job being within oneself. Well, personally, as a pilot, it doesn't come much stronger feeling than that. A lot of our people have only ever known aviation, me included. I can't remember not wanting to fly. My dad took me up for a helicopter flight when I was 4 years old, apparently over Christchurch with Garden City Helicopters, and ever since then I had a terrible addiction called aviation. First flight when I was 15. I'm going to give you some scary maths now that could work it out. The greys are here, but look, that was about, give or take, 20 years ago. So I'm looking at a whole new frontier now after 20 years of only ever wanting to be a pilot. Now what? And not only that, but I've got a mortgage, I've got a family, I've got people relying on me. So the weight is incredibly strong. Luckily for me, personally, I just hit the ground running and upped tools as best I could and went building labouring. Now, I thought I'd struck a lucky break, but I'll tell you what, of the other stories I'm hearing out there from our members at the Airline Pilots Association, 99% have grabbed whatever they can. There's folks picking onions out in the Hawke's Bay. There's others driving trucks for Fonterra. They're upping sticks and doing what they can, because us as aviation professionals, we know one thing: we're used to challenges. We've just got to get into it. So as you can imagine, when the rural contractors NZ, the opportunities came out of MPI, it was an absolute gift, and one that I know our members will jump all over given the chance.
Oh, and the cockpits are quite similar.
I've jumped into Dad's tractor, and look, it is missing a couple of screens, Sarah. But look, I like to call it my land-based 737. It's as close as I'm getting to something as fancy as that at the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talking with Rural Contractors Association, what has been, I know that you do have a connection to the land, but amazed you at how far the industry's come, and particularly with technology?
GPS and headers and tractors, and just hit that button and off down the run you go. I mean, I knew our friends in the Crescos and Fletcher's top dressing had that capability, but the amazing having, crawled over every piece of machinery at the Canterbury AMP show since I was 5 years old, thinking about those big fat case machines, to now talking about with Roger, he's saying, look, we'll give your people a go, but realise what we've got in these larger pieces of machinery. He was holding it back, but he said as close as you can get to the space shuttle on land, and I can see why. They're some magnificent machines. It's come a long, long way, and luckily, look, aviation's done the same thing. It's advanced now to the point where they're doing automated takeoffs and landings. Luckily, still with human beings up the front, and I won't talk about what's around the next century because hopefully they'll still need pilots. But look, I've seen real similarities between agriculture and aviation, and that's why I'm plugging, let us former aviation professionals roll our sleeves up and prove ourselves on the land with you. If we're given the honour of jumping on your farm or your machinery, let us prove our worth, because I'll back our people at the Airline Pilots Association every day. They'll make you glad that you gave us the shot.
And to close, my biggest concern is the health and safety and well-being of our contractors and our skilled labour that currently are still either here in New Zealand or are Kiwis that have been involved driving machinery for a long time. Integrating a lot of unskilled Kiwi labour over a blanket migrant approval visa, which I understand Rural Contractors is seeking from immigration. Naturally, the appreciation for health and safety from pilots would be to the nth degree and absolutely suitable for this particular role, not only the technology and understanding.
Too right. I lost count at how many computer-based training modules, and I think I can almost hear the laughter from my former Virgin Australia colleagues here. We were absolutely inundated with study around health and safety, Sarah. One of the last ones, would you believe it, was an ironic piece on falls from heights. So, hey, a real threat, but, we covered everything. And a lot of our people, a good portion of them, have gone into the health and safety field. A colleague and I spoke at WorkSafe's conference last year around our experience from the aviation industry, experience with safety management systems and health and safety. So, very au fait with today's requirements. We have good ties up with WorkSafe, and look, when it comes to a farm induction or worksite induction, we'll be up there first place, ready to go, listening up for the threats out there.
So, what do I say And where do these to the likes of the hawkers from Riversdale that run Waipunamu Contracting that have taken a barbecue and beers and sat outside the university in Dunedin to find staff? How do they get their hands on some valuable pilots?
Look, drop us a line, ring 0800 NZ Alpha 09 255 1500, ask for me. I'm busy on the building site putting scooting board up and recladding a shopping mall in Christchurch at the moment, but I'm doing my wheels, tracks, rollers next Friday just to try and keep up with the other members that have done their class 2s already, and class 4s, 5s, they're leaving me in the dust. But look, in all seriousness, www.nzalpha.org.nz, 0800 NZ Alpha, ask for Andy Pender to be put through to me or any of the wonderful medical and welfare team, and any offers or even a conversation about how we can help on your farm and your agricultural company. A heap of our people come from rural backgrounds. We know a way around farming communities and machinery. Give us a crack. We'd be on it.
What a way to end. Thank you so much. There's Andy Pender, the Medical and Welfare Director for the New Zealand Airline Pilots Association, former Virgin Australian captain, and now, as he said, working on a building site and working to support his former colleagues who have been affected by COVID-19 to redeploy into the highly skilled role that is in shortage, which is our agricultural contractors.
This is Sarah's Country.